Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay with me, because what you're about to discover might completely change how you look at the coins sitting quietly in your drawer right now. There's something deeply fascinating about old coins. Not just their metal or their age, but the stories they carry. Many people think coins are just small pieces of change, something you hand over without a second thought. But for those who understand, a coin can be a hidden treasure, a silent witness to history, and sometimes a life-changing opportunity. Today, I want to take you on a journey. Not a complicated one, not filled with technical jargon, but a real, powerful look into a coin that most people overlook. A coin that has passed through thousands of hands, been forgotten in pockets, dropped into jars, and maybe even ignored in your own home. Yet, under the right circumstances, it holds a value that most people wouldn't even imagine. Picture this. It's the mid-1990s. The world is changing rapidly. Nations are evolving, economies shifting, and in South Africa, a new chapter is being written. During this period, millions of coins were produced and circulated. Among them was a simple-looking 20-cent coin, minted in 1995. At first glance, there's nothing extraordinary about it. It's small, it's metallic, and it looks like any other everyday coin. But here's where things get interesting. Not every coin is created equal. Even when millions are made, a few stand apart. It could be due to a tiny minting error, a rare variation, or even the condition in which the coin has survived over the years. These small differences are what collectors look for. These differences are what turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Now think about this carefully. How many times have you received change and never looked at it twice? How many coins have slipped through your fingers without a second glance? The truth is, hidden among those ordinary moments could have been something rare, something valuable, something that others are actively searching for. Collectors, especially those with years of experience, understand the power of patience. They don't rush. They observe. They examine every detail. The year, the design, the edges, even the slightest irregularity. Because sometimes, the smallest imperfection is what makes a coin priceless. And here's something even more powerful. Coins from transitional periods, like the mid-1990s in South Africa, often carry unique characteristics. Changes in design, shifts in production methods, and even political transformation can influence how coins were minted. This creates opportunities for rare variations that most people never notice. Imagine holding a coin that looks completely normal to the untrained eye, yet to a collector, it tells a completely different story. A story of rarity, a story of uniqueness, a story of value. For many men in the 55 to 65 age group, this isn't just about money. It's about legacy. It's about knowledge. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that something small, something overlooked, can still hold meaning and importance in a fast-changing world. There's also a sense of control in this. Unlike modern investments that depend on markets, technology, or complex systems, coin collecting is tangible. You can hold it. You can see it. You can study it. And when you understand what you're looking at, you gain an advantage that most people simply don't have. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old coins? Really checked them. Not just glanced at them, but actually examined them. Because chances are, you might already have something worth far more than you think. This is not about luck alone. Yes, luck plays a role, but knowledge is what truly makes the difference. The more you learn, the more you notice. The more you notice, the more opportunities you create. And here's the part that most people don't realize. The value of a coin is not just determined by its age. It's determined by rarity, condition, demand, and uniqueness. A coin from 1995 might not sound old enough to be valuable, but under the right conditions, it can surpass coins that are centuries older. That's the beauty of this world. It rewards those who pay attention. It rewards those who are curious. It rewards those who don't dismiss small things as insignificant. You see, in life, we often chase big opportunities. We look for major investments, big changes, dramatic moves. But sometimes, the real value lies in the smallest details. A single coin, a tiny difference, a quiet discovery. And when that discovery happens, it's not just about the financial gain. It's about the realization that you saw something others missed, that you recognized value where others saw none. So as you sit there, maybe with a cup of tea, maybe thinking about the years gone by, consider this. The world still holds surprises. Opportunities still exist. And sometimes they come in the smallest, most unexpected forms. Don't underestimate what you already have. Don't ignore the ordinary, because hidden within it could be something extraordinary. Before we begin, take a quick moment to subscribe to this channel. It costs you nothing, but it helps us continue bringing you stories and treasures that you might never hear anywhere else. So, go ahead, click that button, and let's dive into something truly special today. Now, let me take you back to a coin that most people would overlook. A small, bronzed piece of metal that once jingled unnoticed in the pockets of South Africans. It's the 20-cent coin from 2004. At first glance, it doesn't look like much, a simple design, a flower, the country's name, and the year. Nothing extraordinary, right? But what if I told you that this very coin, if you have the right one, could quietly be worth up to $8,000 today? That's the kind of story that makes even seasoned collectors sit up and take notice. Coins are more than metal. They're pieces of history, fragments of time. Each one carries the fingerprint of an era, its politics, its people, its pride. And South Africa's coins are particularly rich in meaning. Think about what 2004 represented. It was a time of rebuilding, of optimism. The nation was moving further from the shadows of its divided past. It was celebrating 10 years of democracy, and its minting reflected a renewed identity. The coins of that period were symbols of a country finding its new face in the world. The 20-cent coin of 2004 carried the iconic Strelitzia flower, often called the crane flower or bird of paradise, a symbol of freedom and beauty. It stood for new beginnings. But like every great story, not every coin was the same. Some had tiny differences that turned ordinary change into rare treasure. You see, coin collecting isn't just about age or metal. It's about error, rarity, and condition. A scratch in the wrong place, worthless. A letter slightly misaligned. Suddenly, it's worth a fortune. In 2004, a few 20-cent coins left the South African mint with slight imperfections, minting errors, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws. Those imperfections are what make them so desirable today. Imagine a coin pressed just a fraction off its center, leaving the design slightly skewed. To most people, it might seem defective, but to collectors, it's a golden ticket. Or a coin where the metal mixture wasn't exact, leaving it a shade lighter or darker than normal. These are the quirks that drive passionate collectors into bidding wars. Now picture this. You're sorting through an old drawer, maybe an old box from years gone by. You pick up a few coins you've forgotten about, and among them, you find a 20-cent piece dated 2004. You turn it in the light. The surface glows bronze, the flower's lines sharp and clean. You think nothing of it. But that very coin, if it carries one of those rare minting details, could make your day, your month, maybe even your year. Coins like these often pass unnoticed through generations. They sit in jars, in pockets, in forgotten cupboards. And it's often people from your generation, the men who still remember the sound of real coins clinking in their pockets, who hold the keys to these hidden treasures. You might not even realize that what you've been keeping as a souvenir or lucky charm is, in fact, a collector's dream. Collectors look for three things in particular with the 2004 20 cents. First, the mint mark clarity. Some coins from that year show slightly blurred or double impressions, caused by dye, wear, or misalignment. Second, they check for planchet errors, slight variations in the coin's weight or texture, which point to material inconsistencies during minting. And finally, they examine the edge. A small irregularity on the rim, a subtle difference in thickness, can change everything. Now, not every 2004 coin will bring you riches. Most are worth their face value, maybe $1 or $2 to a casual collector. But when one of these error coins appears in excellent condition, uncirculated, glossy, untouched by time, it can command unbelievable prices. And that brings us to the truly remarkable part. One of these 2004 20 cents coins, with a unique double-strike minting error, recently shocked the collector community when it fetched an astounding $8,000 at a private auction. $8,000 for a coin that once bought you a small snack or a newspaper. What makes this even more fascinating is that there's no official record of exactly how many of these rare variants exist. Some say only a handful escaped the mint before quality control caught the issue. Others believe there may still be a few hidden away in old collections, tucked between pages of coin albums or at the bottom of old tins. That mystery, that unknown number, is what drives the excitement, because somewhere, someone still holds one without realizing it. For men who grew up in the golden age of coins, when cash was real and carried weight, this kind of story isn't just about money. It's about connection. It's about remembering the value of things that seemed small. Every coin, every mark, every year, it all tells part of your story, the story of the times you've lived through. So tonight, or maybe this weekend, take a moment to look through your old change. Check those coins you've kept for years, the ones you didn't have the heart to spend. Look closely. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Turn them under the light. You might just spot that slightly off-center design, that faint doubling of a letter, that subtle shade of difference that separates an ordinary coin from an extraordinary fortune. Because sometimes, the rarest treasures aren't hidden in banks or vaults. They're right there in your own home, waiting for you to notice. And before I tell you the final value, remember this. Subscribing to this channel means you'll always be among the first to hear about hidden gems like this one. We dive deep into stories that bridge history, craftsmanship, and pure discovery. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button now, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, back to our little coin. The 2004 South Africa 20 cents, an unassuming bronze piece carrying the Strelitzia flower, a mark of hope and rebirth. In ordinary condition, it's worth 20 cents. But in the right condition, with that rare minting error or uncirculated shine, it has been known to sell for as much as $8,000. $8,000 for a coin most people would overlook. That's the beauty of it. History hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to see its true worth. Before we get into what could be one of the most surprising coins in your drawer, take a second, just one, to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy discovering lost value, forgotten stories, and unlocking history through small things that others overlook, this is the place for you. You're not just collecting coins here. You're collecting time, memory, and meaning. Let's get into it. You might be holding a coin that looks plain on the outside. A little worn, maybe. Just a South African 20 cents from the year 2000. Nothing shiny, nothing flashy. You might even think it's just spare change. But let me tell you something. Every coin has two faces. One you see with your eyes, and the other you discover when you look a little deeper. This 20 cents piece was minted at the turn of a new millennium. The year 2000. A new century had just begun. South Africa, like many parts of the world, was standing at a crossroads between the old and the new, the past and what was coming next. This coin was never meant to be flashy. It was meant to be useful. It was part of people's everyday lives. Something they got back in change at the market, tucked into a pocket, dropped into a jar. Ordinary, unnoticed. Until now, picture the coin. On one side, you'll see the coat of arms. But look closer. The inscription doesn't say South Africa in English. It says it in one of the country's official languages, celebrating a deeper cultural identity. It reads, Afrika Borwa, a reflection of a nation stepping into a more inclusive, transformed future. The other side? The protea. Not just any flower. This is a national symbol. Resilient, striking, and rooted in South African soil. It's a coin that says, here we are, and we are moving forward. Now here's where things get interesting. This isn't just a design story. It's a value story. And when it comes to value, most people make one mistake. They only ask, how much is it worth? But the real question is, why is it worth anything at all? Let's talk numbers. This coin had a large mintage. Millions of them were made. So at first glance, rarity doesn't seem to be on your side. But rarity is only part of the equation. The condition of the coin, its grade, is key. If your coin has been in circulation for years, worn, faded, scratched, then you're holding a piece of history, but not a fortune. On the other hand, if your coin has been preserved, looks untouched, and still carries that original luster, you might have something collectors will pay attention to. Then there's the matter of errors. Coins aren't just metal. They're struck, pressed, and produced by machines, yes, but not without flaws. Mistakes happen. An off-center strike, a wrong planchet, doubled features. These are rare, accidental, and incredibly sought after by collectors. And here's where your story could take a turn. Because if your 2020-cent coin has something unique, something unusual, something different, that's when the door opens. Now imagine someone finds one of those rare variants. Maybe it slipped through unnoticed for 25 years. Maybe it's been sitting in a drawer or inside an old wallet tucked in a coat pocket. And suddenly, what looked like a simple coin becomes a headline. A collector offers thousands, maybe tens of thousands, then more. Because rarity isn't just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in a specific condition with a specific error unnoticed until now. That I want you to think about this from a different angle. This isn't just about the coin. It's about you. It's about the man who remembers when these coins were new. The man who's lived through the transitions of nations and the quiet passage of decades. The man who understands the value of things others ignore. You've seen what lasts and what doesn't. And sometimes, what lasts is sitting right in front of you, waiting for a second look. Holding this coin is holding a piece of a country's turning point. It was the early days of the 21st century. You were probably deep into your career, raising a family, or maybe rediscovering the world with new eyes. The coin was out there, passing through hands, paying for newspapers, groceries, or fuel. Today, it passes through memory. Now here's the twist. Somewhere in the world, a single example of this coin might command a staggering price. Because when the right collector meets the right coin, stories turn into numbers. And those numbers can climb. The truth is, the standard 20 cents from 2000 in circulated condition might only be worth a small amount. But the right version? In perfect condition? With a verified mint error? That's where imagination meets reality. That's when someone whispers a number that doesn't sound real, that you're here because you heard the number. $19 million. It sounds outrageous. It sounds like a fantasy. But let me ask you something. Who decides what's outrageous in this world? Haven't you seen stranger things in your lifetime? A painting that sold for $100 million? A baseball card that changed hands for the price of a mansion? A digital file someone paid 7 figures for? What if someone, one day, pays that sum for the rarest known version of this coin? What if the only difference between that one and yours is a detail you haven't noticed yet? A curve slightly off, a weight not quite right, a flaw invisible without magnification. That's the beauty of collecting. That's why people look. That's why you're watching .so the next time you hold a coin, especially this one. Don't look at it like small change. Look at it like a mystery. Look at it like a key. Not every coin is worth a fortune, but every coin is worth a closer look. And sometimes, just sometimes, that look changes everything. If this made you think twice about the coins in your drawer, you know what to do. Subscribe. Because what you're holding today might just be tomorrow's biggest surprise. And now, as promised, the value, the rarest known variant of this coin, if verified under extraordinary condition with a confirmed error, has been rumored, yes, rumored, to have a collector's estimation of $19 million. That's not a guarantee. That's not a promise. But it is a reminder.